From a young age, I was always drawn to sports. When I was 15 years old, my principal were very impressed with my achievements and asked my mother to take me to the sports complex for the training. My parents were very supportive and encouraged me to pursue my passion in sports, and they always want me to be strong and fulfill our dreams. As I was about to pursue my interest in sports, my society was hit with bomb attacks and political instability. I still remember we had a first bomb attack when I was in my school. And being in my school, everyone was worried about each other's safety. While going back to home, I have seen so many people were struggling to reach their home. And shops were getting closed. And there were curfew enforced in the city. This was abnormal in Karachi. Let me repeat. This was abnormal in Karachi. This is not a Karachi that I was growing up seeing. Karachi is a city of lights and very safe at the late evenings. Very famous for delicious food and rich culture. My picture of Karachi was completely destroyed. Every time when there is a bomb attack, hundreds of people died. Life of people get interrupted. School shut down for many days. And curfew enforced in the city. Sitting inside my home and monitoring the news every time when there's a bomb attack make us scared. And we would receive calls from our family and friends outside of the city. I lived with my mother and my sister in Karachi while my father was living abroad in Connecticut. He would listen every day stories on the media and get scared and worried about us, but make us calm down from miles away, and he encouraged us to get a good education. The other girls in Pakistan could not get good education because of political instability and gender bias. But I was lucky to have my parents who support me to get good education. When I was 13 years old, my father had an interesting idea that if I stop cutting my hair, I can set a Guinness World Record as the longest hair. But as I was more involved in squash, he had an idea that I can set a Guinness World Record as the longest hair athlete. I loved this idea, and I stopped cutting my hair to build my identity as the longest hair athlete from Pakistan and later in the world. I was also known as Rapunzel in Pakistan because of my 6 feet long hair. I was more involved in Guinness and everything, and my family was continuously supporting me. When I was 15 years old, I was first introduced to squash. I loved it instantly and started playing it regularly. My coaches were impressed with my skills, and they encouraged me to play an international tournament right after 2 months I began playing squash. I love squash because squash is an individual sport and more focused on stamina. But I was very impressed with famous players like Jahangir Khan. But I noticed there were not many women from Pakistan who reached the same title he had. This is when I decided to become a best woman squash player from Pakistan to make my country proud. My mother bought me my first racket and my shoes, and I started playing regularly with national association team. My first tournament was international tournament, but I lost in first round. But I was very excited to see myself the next day in newspaper, and the headline was upcoming woman player. I was very excited, but my parents were afraid after that newspaper because it was unsafe for a girl to be famous in the country. Because of extremist group in the country don't let women succeeding in anything. My mother take me to the sports complex for the training. Doesn't matter how long is the training, 2 hours, 3 hours. She stay with me all the time because it was unsafe for a female to travel outside. While my father was living in United States and listened every day scary stories on media, one day he asked me if I can start hiding my identity and start wearing burqa. And then he asked me while going to the sports complex, change my roots. And I did. And also in our sports complex, our main gate, there were no security. But my sister and my mother support me to take me every day for the practice sessions. I want to play more tournaments, but because in Karachi there was bomb attack happening and there were no tournament held nearby. No one wants to come Karachi for the tournaments. And I was forced to travel internationally. There were no funds, no sponsors. Only my father was the one who covered the cost of my travels. And he encouraged me to play more tournaments to make myself top player and to raise my ranking. And I used my social media presence as a longest hair athlete. I was lucky to have my parents' support and became 8-time state champion, Jordan Junior champion, and 2 gold medals in National Olympics. And my international ranking was 114 in the world. My parents support me and helped me to become a professional squash player at higher level. But I noticed there were many girls, they were not that lucky. When I was in my school, I have seen so many girls who wants to go to school for a good education, but they could not because their family cannot afford their school fees. Same as when I go to sports complex, I have seen so many kids playing with old shoes and broken rackets. Realizing this, me and my sister decide to have our nonprofit so we can give good education to the children and provide them equipment and they can pursue their passion in sports. While we were working on nonprofit, there were many people who discouraged us because we were helping girls to get education and sports. But with my family support, we start our nonprofit. We start nonprofit called Children Educate Athletes Social Welfare Organization at a small scale, just with 3 kids. We used to pay their fees and also do food drives in the year to help families, especially in our community, their family member died in bomb attacks. We also held events in our schools to encourage parents to bring their children for education. And we also host rent assistance to the families who cannot afford their rent. Working towards nonprofit, gaining more supports, we're able, last 3 years, we were able to help more than 60 kids by providing their school fees. I want to register my organization at international level so I can help as many kids as possible. And I use my social media presence to give more publicity for my nonprofit in Pakistan. My sister is running day-to-day operation of the organization, while I moved to United States in 2018 to become a professional squash player, because it was easier and safer for me to pursue my dream here. But I still wanted to find a way to support myself financially, so I heard about a job opportunity in Northern Virginia. It's coaching job opportunity, and I decided to move to Northern Virginia. I love my job because it gives me an opportunity to share my knowledge with my students, and they can pursue their passion in squash. I moved to Northern Virginia and began coaching, but I still wanted to find a way to raise awareness for female athletes and children in Pakistan. Since I built my social media presence as a longest hair athlete, so I decided to use my platform for this cause. I set 2 Guinness World Records. One, most hair donated by an individual, so I donate 5 feet 1 inches of my hair. And second, most hair clips on my head, and I put 1,100 hair clips on my head. Realizing this, rather than setting a Guinness World Record for myself, it will be more meaningful if I donate my hair to the children who need more than I do. So I decide to donate my hair, a nonprofit called Children with Hair Loss, which create wig for the children who have medical condition and lost their hair. Working towards these 2 Guinness World Records gave me an opportunity to work with local business, national and international media. And this brings more publicity for my nonprofit in the Pakistan and United States. Currently, I'm a senior coach at Squash on Fire in DC, where I encourage my students to pursue their passion in squash. I got married last September to Muhammad Ali Shah, a Pakistani soccer player and a coach, and together with my family to build our nonprofit. Educate Athletes Social Welfare Organization is releasing a new program to educate children, underprivileged area children who are forced to beg on the streets for food. And in the United States, we would like to start a program to collect the old squash rackets and donate them players in Pakistan. I would like you all to embrace the present and remember the hardship these children go through every day to pursue their passion. And join me to empower the future generation, especially girls. When children are inspired and provided with necessary support, they build the foundation for a united future. Thank you.